So we'll get started off, Darren. 3-2 win against Spokane Velocity. Kickers take a 2-0 lead in the first half. Find themselves in a situation where Justin Succo is able to find the game winner. James Sneddon making two really important saves there in stoppage time. Can you kind of talk about the full 90 performance? How did you feel like the team played? Obviously very, very positive attacking in the first. We're able to weather the storm and find the game winner at the end.
Yeah, weather the storm. We took a couple goals, but I would say this. I'm happy for the guys. They needed a win to feel good. Because they've been training well. Last week, we trained unbelievably well. We lose 3-1 at Omaha, and we outshot them 16-11. So the guys were just like, man, what happened? And then they turned it around today. James Sneddon, man of the match. You know, we believe in young kids. If you're good enough, you're old enough. And he played well tonight. I thought Griffin had another good game, and Landon comes on and creates the game winner. So we're happy with our kids.
And we saw in the first half really, really positive attacking combinations, able to find 2 goals off of corner kicks in an area where the team's really found a lot of joy. Chandler O'Dwyer finding 2 goals. How do you feel like that end of the play, worked out, especially in the first half? I think 10 shots, 5 on target.
We work very hard on set pieces because we know in the run of play we've been struggling a little bit. So to get that goal late from Justin was great, but Chandler executed the first corner kick perfectly, and then the second one just happened to go in. It was good.
And then speaking of the game winner, it all starts with Tony Pineda, second half substitute, making a really courageous tackle at midfield, carrying the ball up, finding Landon Johnson, who then makes a laser pass to set up Succo for the goal. Can you kind of just talk about how that sequence went, and is that something that you're looking for the team to be able to harness throughout the 90 minutes as well?
I think there's a bigger thing, and this is what we would say. We try to play a particular brand here, and everybody says, why do you go backwards? Why do you go backwards, right? We're trying to build and play a modern level, and it hasn't been good enough. And tonight, we knew we needed to score 8 goals. So we're going for it. We went more linear, and we went for it. And part of that is the attitude to make sure that if you give the ball away, you get it right back. And the ball gets lost. Tony slide tackled, gets right up and takes off running. We need more of that, and it was good tonight.
And then you mentioned James, man of the match, making those 2 key saves in stoppage time, having another really, really good save in the first half to prevent them from finding that first half goal. Probably really unlucky in the 2 that were given up. How do you feel like he did tonight, especially since it was his first career start?
We have a very good goalkeeper coach, and we have a good goalkeeping department, but it's been inconsistent this year. We've had good games, and we haven't had such good games. We trust all 3 of them. So now we have 3, and not just 2. And I thought he was great. The 2 saves that he made tipping over the bar were as good as anybody's done this year, and those are the saves you have to make to stay in games.
And we've kind of, and maybe, I don't know if this is more of a question for Mika, but kind of that blended environment. James, who's been able to play with the U20s all summer and then come in and feature for the first team. This is kind of the blueprint of everything that you guys are building towards. What does it say for him to just come out of the gate and have that performance?
Well, first, Mika's the wizard of the youth, but you could ask Riddy, you could ask Connor, you can ask Evan, you can ask Darren. We're all on the same page, talk about it every day. Those guys, Nicholas Simmons has gone back and absolutely dominated the U20s. He would have featured tonight, but he's got a little bit of an ankle going on. He's just about done and being back in. So at the end of the day, those guys being able to go back and dominate at the U20s and then come get pro minutes, that's how you develop guys and get them going. So we're just super happy for James tonight.
What are your biggest takeaways, either positive or negative, from tonight, and how do you transition that into going forward with the break that you guys have tonight?
We haven't been consistent enough this year at all, and even tonight we had a 20-minute spell in the start of the second half where we weren't ready. We're working on it, man. Holy moly, we're working on trying to get rid of that. What we saw that was different tonight was there was a resilience of we took a couple of goals and we're like, oh man, and the guys went, I'm not going to be tonight and come back. So it's really the resilience part and the grit part. If we can do that and keep the goals out, we're going to start doing what we need to do.
And you alluded to it earlier, but the kickers seem to create their best moments being very direct, going at goal, using their pace. How are you looking to use that part of the game going forward into these last 6 games this season?
So we have a 2-week period now where we don't have anything, and then we play 2 very tough teams. Team at the top of the table, another team that's dollar signs and headed to the championship. We know what those games are. The next 2 weeks is a pre-season for a 6-game season, and the guys know it. We'll be back in training tomorrow, and we're going to get after it.
You saw players return such as Tony Pineda, Chris Cole, guys that come back from lengthy injuries. How proud are you about how much they contributed tonight with Tony, with how he created a chance, and Chris Cole shutting out his side of the game in the limited minutes that he played?
When you get an opportunity in life, you have to take it. And so many people get an opportunity and don't take it and then are upset about it. Why am I not playing? Tony just made a case for himself. Chris just made a case for himself. Chandler O'Dwyer just said, hey guys, I can score goals. When you get a chance to do something and you take it, that's the best scenario we can have here.
And Richmond is known for development goalkeepers, even so getting the nickname of Goalkeeper FC. How was it tonight of playing James in goal, even though his relative young age?
We trust him. Right now, I'd start any of the 3 goalkeepers and I'd feel good about it. And I'll tell you what, if he keeps doing that, that kid's going to be a pro sooner rather than later.
And last but not least, you saw Landon Johnson, we saw Adrian Bellhart out there on the weeks tonight. Is that a partnership fans might be able to see going forward?
Yeah, we're going to play the team that's going to win games. That's what we're doing. If you're 17 or if you're 32, it doesn't matter. We're going to play the team that we think is going to win. We have a 6-game season, and you're going to see a lot more of what you saw tonight, more open soccer.
Man of the match performance, first start in a competition outside of an exhibition. Coming into the match, making key saves in the first half and the second half, game-winning saves. You know, how do you feel like you performed tonight? How do you feel like you performed amongst your teammates as you were, leading the back?
Yeah, I was really happy with the performance in the first half, both individually and collectively. I thought that was some of the better soccer we've played all year. So I was really happy with that. And then obviously things took a bad turn in the second half, but we were able to fight back, and really proud of the resilient performance from the team.
Yeah, and obviously, kickers gave up 2 goals, maybe ones that you were unfortunate that, be in the net for, because it wasn't necessarily, it just was something that happened. How do you feel like those plays happened or, progressed, and then how do you feel like the team reacted after obviously a very difficult moment there? So.
Yeah, first of all, I would say that as goalkeepers are perfectionists, so whenever we look back at every goal, there's something we could have done to prevent it. So I don't think those goals were blame-free. I think there's details that we can sort out and iron out. First goal, obviously, kind of a killer right after halftime. Ball goes down the line, crosses it in, good one-touch finish, but yeah. And then the second goal from a set piece, I think that's something we can iron out and do better on for the next time. Try to work towards that clean sheet that we're so desperately seeking.
Fourth official raises the clock, so 6 minutes left. You guys find yourself in a position where there's the last-ditch efforts from Spokane to try and catch the game. Can you kind of just walk me through kind of that last 60 seconds, 90 seconds of the match where, there was one where you were well positioned, where you just had to have the ball hit you in the chest and then you could fall on it, but then another one where you had to leap up and tip the ball. How did that progress? How do you feel like you performed there?
We were a little bit torn between trying to chase 5 more goals in stoppage time and securing the win. Those moments are doing what I have to do. I was happy with the fight of the boys to get it over the line. Yeah.
All right, so I'm gonna ask you a more emotional question. When you found out you were going to be named the starter for tonight's match, what were your first thoughts? Did you call anyone? Anything like that?
I called my dad first of all, because he's always my biggest supporter. He's always very proud of me. I called my dad first and then texted a few of my, I guess you could call them mentors, former teammates, and people that I look to.
What was your dad's reaction when he found out his son was going to be in goal tonight?
Yeah, he was really excited because, he's a pretty big Kickers fan and we grew up coming here together, so he was excited.
Everyone knows you. Everyone's, in Section O is rooting for you because you are a big Kickers fan. You know the legacy of goalkeepers being grown. How does it feel to now have your name etched in history, being known as, the next up-and-coming goalkeeper?
Yeah, I think I've got a long way to go for that. This is just my first game, so hopefully it's just the start.
Talk about tonight's game as well. You had a lot of good saves. Is there one save that stands out to you that, one that you're like, hey, I really stood out on this one?
Yeah, that first half top hand one felt really good. Would have liked to see it on the Jumbotron, but we had to defend the corner right after, so yeah, that one stood out.
And, throughout the course of the night, you're communicating with the back line. Was there any defenders that helped you out the most to kind of get you settled and make sure that you were straight?
Maxi and Dak and Ani are huge for me. They've been really good helping me adapt, and yeah, those guys stick out.
For me, 'cause we're talking about kind of the blended environment that you guys are getting to enjoy, especially the younger players either on academies or the young pros. You know, having this opportunity you were able to get those minutes in the Lionsbridge game. You've been featuring for Kickers U20 to then work your way into making the start. How do you feel like you've progressed over this summer where you've kind of had this accelerated period of growth and being able to perform, you know, week in and week out?
Yeah, no, it's so massive to have match practice every weekend. That's huge for any goalkeeper. So just getting those minutes under my belt has been really helpful. So yeah, the academy pathway has been doing its job. And yeah, one thing I would say though is big game against North Carolina FC. You could tell them the dates, but I don't exactly know when it is. But
Sunday, September 8th.
Yeah, big one, win and we're in for playoffs. So be there.
Chandler, we'll get started. First half brace. I know we've talked before where you feel a lot more comfortable maybe playing in that 8 role, but you're also somebody who's just ready to take on any position. Tonight playing more forward, more centrally, kind of in that striker role. How do you feel like tonight went for you? And we can get to the corner kicks in a few minutes.
To be honest, I'm actually not that happy with my performance. Like, I actually don't think I played that well. Obviously scored 2 goals, so as a striker you kind of got to change your mindset from being like a midfielder. So job done really, innit? But I don't know, I'm not like very pleased with my performance, but obviously 2 goals at home with a win, it's decent, so yeah.
I don't know if we're going to use the word trademark yet, but obviously two kicks off of corners, especially that first one at the near post that headed on flick. You know, how do you feel like those opportunities presented themselves for you? How do you feel, you know, in those situations? It just seems like you're really comfortable and just ready to go for them.
Yeah, to be honest, like, I feel like it's a cheat code. If you kind of put the ball in that front post, even if you get a little flick, maybe it hits the defender and goes in. You know, I feel like when you see it in the Premier League or anything, it always works. So if we could just keep doing it, I you know, it's worked for like 3-4 times for me this season. So scored 2 last season, similar sort of thing. So hopefully teams won't figure it out, but hopefully I can keep doing it. But yeah.
I know, you know, some of the game was obviously happening behind you since you were playing it in the striker role, but how do you feel like tonight went? I know you said maybe there were some things that you wanted to work on in your performance, but how do you feel like overall the team did, and how would you, you know, just kind of rate how things went this evening?
Tonight was an interesting one because, you know, the reality was we had to score a lot of goals, like an unrealistic amount of goals to get through in this cup. So it was more for us to kind of like solidify the fact that we can win games at City Stadium, you know, kick on to this last little bit of the season and actually get something out of the season. So I'm happy about that. I think the first goal was unacceptable from the whole team. You can't let any goal that easy. Like it's a joke, to be honest. I don't think any player in here will argue with that. Coaches, fans, anything, you can't argue it. It's not good enough. We cut that stuff out of our game. We keep playing the way we played when we were doing well. You know, we got something. Just got to tighten up a little bit.
And then the third goal, that game winner, from your point of view, obviously, all 3 second half substitutes coming in. Tony makes a really huge tackle in midfield, carries the ball up, finds Landon. Landon makes his pass to find Suko. How did you fit into that run of play? How do you feel like, you know, all of that worked out?
I didn't do much. Maybe I dragged the defender out, who knows? But no, I think when Tony came on, he made a big difference. It's good. I think he's kind of found his niche that, you know, he can come on the end of games when everyone's tired and he can just obliterate guys, you know. Landon, same thing. Suko, I think Suko's been playing really well, so happy that he got his goal, even though he did steal one from me. But no, I'm very happy. I thought the guys that came on did really well.
6 minutes of stoppage time. There's a last ditch flurry from Spokane in about the last 60 to 90 seconds. How do you feel like just defensively the team was able to keep the net clean in those last 6 minutes? How do you feel like everybody performed there?
I think you take away the 2 blips for the goals, I think it was actually a pretty good, decent defensive performance. I think the first half we locked them down pretty well. Maybe guys got a bit tired in the second half, I don't really know. It's kind of story of our season, I don't know. You know, we won, move forward from that, take that positive and hopefully into the next game. It's in 2 weeks, but hopefully.
You mentioned it earlier, but what is the mentality shift for you when you playing from midfielder to striker? What goes on for you mentally to get prepared for this role?
I think for me, it's like you kind of have to shift your mindset of like what is it that actually is needed from you in that position. You know, like as a central midfielder, I feel like one of my strong points is tackling people, winning the ball back, like interceptions. But in a striker role, like you're not always presented with those opportunities, and oftentimes when you are, you're pretty gassed. Like especially because we pressed quite highly today, and the job from me was to kind of like press the centre backs, and I feel like we did a really good job in the first half. I kind of gassed towards the end of the game, so didn't do as well of a job. But the mentality shift is like, what do you need to do in the role, and changed, figuring out like, okay, how can I be the best version of that? And for me, it was, as I said, I'm actually not that happy with my performance. I think my hold-up play was pretty poor. But 2 goals as a striker, that's your job done, really, isn't it? You're there to score goals. So.
Also tonight, we see the team, they had their best moments when they were being very direct, going towards goal. Is that something you would like to see the Kickers do more in these last 6 games to finish out the season?
Listen, I'm a player, I'm not a coach. I'll stay in my lane. I think I saw a stat, something like this, and this is I find interesting. I'll say this: in the Euros, the average amount of passes leading up to a goal was 6. So say what you want, 6 passes to get a goal. Speaks for itself. Yeah.
Also, the corner pieces, the set pieces, seems to be a trademark for this team. Scoring goals. You yourself have dominated that area of the game. How do you dominate that part of the game so well?
I think now, like especially in the US, like guys aren't taught to head a ball properly. You know, it's not about how big you are or whatever. It's all about timing. You know, if you time it, you're going to win it every time. Sometimes you've got big centre backs who are going to win it because they're just massive or whatever, and they got the jump on you. But if you can time it and the ball gets put in the right position, which happened for the first goal, and it almost happened in the second half again. Like, you know, if you get there, time it correctly, and you've got the ability to actually head it towards goal, you're going to grab goals, you know, set pieces.
And lastly, for the September 14 game down in Charlotte, there are a small contingent of fans who are going to be making that trip down there. How big would it be to be walking out the tunnel to see like a small group of Red Army fans down there cheering you guys on?
No, it's nice. It's always good. Things like that, you know, as players, we can't really do much to say thank you other than like saying thank you after the game, but that is felt, you know, definitely. You can't really put a value to it, but we definitely appreciate it always. Anytime that any fan, like, you know, there's been games where we're going to the other side of the country and somehow there's a Kickers shirt, you know, and it's proud as a player. It makes you very proud, and we appreciate anything like that.